Hello and welcome back to another episode of Craft Beer and Data. My name is Nick Piette, Chief Evangelist at Talend.
I'm Mark Balkenende, Director of Technical Product Marketing at Talend.
And we are here at Wynkoop Brewery with CJ Fischler and John Sims. Perfect. So, you know, obviously our last episode we were at Guinness Brewery. We're back here in the States kicking off our first Craft Beer and Data tour event here in Denver, which is great, so we didn't have to travel too much. You should see us if you guys are in Philly and looking at us for next month. We'll be out there. So now that we've got you guys here, right? So we've got the historian and we've got the head brewmaster. We've got some really, and why I'm really excited about starting with Wynkoop Brewery is that really, just like we're starting our adventure here, craft beer for the Colorado area really started here as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So just doing kind of some of the quick research, right? I mean, you guys have been around since the 80s. So how has really the brewing process and really what you guys have done, I mean, you guys are really invested in the community, right? So how has that kind of gone through? What's kind of the history of this place?
And even, you mentioned before we came on camera about how it wasn't even legal.
Yeah.
Right.
So to have a tasting room at the brewing place. So talk about that a little bit too. It'd be, I think, very interesting for people listening.
Right. In '88 we opened up, and it started. Before then, in '87, they actually changed some legislation to make it legal, so you could produce and serve liquor, beer, wine, whatever it may be, on the same premise. And we're seeing states that are just now starting to learn that, but we've obviously been doing that since '88,
wow.
And we see
not
with
states we're going to.
and they notice it too. Obviously, the tax revenues and the other monies that come in from that are huge, but seeing what we've done with the last 20 plus years with that, and seeing now where everybody else is starting to pick up pace, we really see how that's given us advantage in the craft beer market. And
absolutely.
How everything's just taken off in that sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, for many of our viewers that aren't around from Colorado, one of the things that's very fascinating is kind of the group of co-founders that kind of put this together.
Right.
One of them now our actual governor of Colorado, and you kind of mentioned that his origin story, if you will, into brewing is kind of atypical, and it was really fascinating when we were talking about it.
Well, atypical probably at the time, but right now you see all kinds of people from all different walks of life jumping in. So I guess it was a good litmus for what was going to come, you know, later on. But he was a geologist out of a job, and it was the oil bust, you know, in Denver and the surrounding area. And this building was a gem in the rough, and besides in the neighborhood, besides Union Station and a few other spots like the Oxford Hotel, which from what I was told was going like bankrupt at the time, there's nothing in the neighborhood. So that's how we got coined, and I don't know if we coined ourselves or we got coined as a brewery that brewed a neighborhood, because, you know, not out of the ashes or anything, but we've seen it through this change.
Yeah.
And everything from Coors Field and now the recent changes to Union Station that have just been crazy good for the Lodo area in Denver in general. So very lucky to be right smack dab in the middle of it.
No, absolutely. Now, on that kind of community vein, one of the things that we were doing is researching. You guys are releasing a new beer coming out next week that's really attached to the Haiti project, right?
Yep.
Yeah, monthly we actually we have monthly beers. That basically something gets donated to a benefit when
lovely.
it comes to that, and that's the one coming up for that. So.
Perfect, yeah. So why that specific, it's a specific plant, it's like the I'm going to butcher it if I say it.
Moringa.
Yeah, Moringa, there you go.
We're calling it our Moringa lager. One of our brewers, Charles, met a woman that works with the Colorado Haiti Project, and they actually take the funds that they raise and physically go down and do the work in Haiti themselves. Yeah. And through talking with her, he decided he'd like to kind of partner up and make a beer for them.
Okay.
To see if we could help out their cause. And they offered up the moringa leaves, which is something that they use in Haiti for spice and tea and I guess medicinal purposes and stuff. So we got a hold of some of that and brewed a tropical lager and spiced it with some tea we made with the moringa leaves.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be our charity beer for March.
Well, and that's really interesting in the sense of, because you mentioned you do something every month.
Right.
So one of the questions we love to ask brewers when we're doing this is, what are the decision factors that kind of go in when it's time to make a new brew, or how's that go? You know, what's the decision process? So
it can be anything you could possibly imagine. So we basically have full creative freedom here. I don't have a phone number to call when I decide to come up with a new batch.
Maybe you should call us.
I don't have to
just to let you know, it's on the horizon.
30 days from now.
And basically, myself and my other 2 brewers and CJ, anybody that's staff here is welcome to come in and mention an idea to us. We currently have about 25 to 30 beers on tap any given week, and only about 10 of those are our core year-round beers. So 2/3 of our selection is basically seasonal and one-off stuff, and it could be anything from our Bad Habit beer. We paired up with a donut company here in town.
Yeah, you were telling us
made a batch
that.
of beer with 1,000 donuts in it.
But you didn't have the donuts in the last batch, you said, right? So it's a little more
We
coffee.
made a toasted.
Yeah,
we
we
made
had
a
both.
toasted coconut.
I thought
Yeah.
that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, instead of donuts today, we're going to use toasted coconut. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
It
donuts.
became a huge seller.
That's awesome.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Coconut cream ale is flying right now.
Yep,
Well,
we've
that's a
got it
great
right now.
example. Accidents happen too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
causes a
Absolutely.
craze that you have to follow.
Definitely.
That's bacon. You can never go wrong with bacon.
Bacon.
I haven't tried it.
No, but from a production standpoint, how many barrels are you guys putting out these days?
We did about 2,500 barrels in the kettle last year.
Okay.
So that puts us up in, I don't know, probably the top 100 brew pubs in the world, I'm sure. It's pretty good
Production-wise,
production
yeah.
for,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
for mostly in-house sales. We do
Right.
send some kegs out to
I
a
say, do
handful
you,
of
Very
restaurants
few.
do you
around
bottle
town.
or keg?
We don't bottle or
Yeah, I
keg
see.
that well,
We used to can,
Think so.
and we stopped a bit back, and that was hard to start with, pulling out of the market. But what we've seen, what it's given us now, having 25 to 30 beers on, there's no way to think that we shouldn't have been doing that the whole time.
Right.
And like he said, the freedoms that they get, you can tell they're happier brewers.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
aren't- You're having to biscuits and gravy every day.
Right.
Having to cook that out. It's
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that makes you a little bit happier.
I don't think I've ever actually run across your beer at the liquor store I go to, which has pretty much every
Right.
brewer.
Well, and we used to have almost 400 accounts when we were distributing, so
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't for a lack of, the market's rough right now. There's a lot of
There's a
breweries
lot.
out there,
Right.
a lot of competition, a lot of people trying to get their name out there. And you talk to these liquor stores, and they see somebody new every week with
Yeah.
a new product that's decent,
Oh, yeah.
and so it's hard to decide these things.
I was in my liquor store a couple weeks ago, and they were training a new guy filling up the coolers, and the guy's like, "That's where the domestic beers, the Bud Lights, Coors Lights, you maybe have to check that every other day. This is the Colorado beers. We have to stay on this like hourly." So I got a good laugh out of that because I'm like, yeah, who's buying that stuff in Colorado? But
Well, and that's just been a recent change too. I mean, just you could say in the last 5 to 8 years that happened where that kind of flip
Yeah.
between the domestics used to be 2 doors of craft and 8 of domestic, and now that's if it's not 50-50 or the other way around. There's
the one I
something
go to
going
has
on.
like 20 doors of
Right.
craft and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like 5 of the domestics.
And that's why we're a big bubble, but we haven't hit that bubble yet. It's
Yeah.
still growing. So
Absolutely.
Well, and so then, since you mentioned there's, a large number of different options available, and we joke when we talk with brewers, it's hard to pick a favorite kid, but if you had to, what would it be? Like, what's your favorite on tap right now? And,
Morning
for you?
Label.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, morning
No.
label.
No hesitation there.
That's
The limit
Which one's
one.
the morning label?
It's
Oh, no,
a
you don't.
15%
We don't
have that one for you.
IPA.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
you only get one of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have that
Well, I
later
think-
tonight at our event.
And that one's kind of interesting because the brewing process is multiple steps. We can't actually get for 15% in a single fermentation, so we have to split it up into two
Oh.
separate fermentations with 2 separate yeast strains to actually get it that high. So that one's fun.
dangerously smooth.
What about you, CJ?
I've found that having variety of life is the king to it. But I'm a very seasonal drinker. I mean, even weather that day kind of thing. If it's cold out, I want a heartier dark beer.
Right.
If it's light out, I'm drinking light. If I'm working a festival, I obviously got to make it through the festival. So
Right.
it's all has to do with what's going on at that second.
No, it makes sense. No, absolutely. So, you guys work so hard in the brewery there. How often do you have to take work home? I mean, Mark and I are working on stuff till the wee
the
hours of the night all the time. So, can you homebrew as well? I mean, you guys have the kind of the freedom to bring it here, but do
Yeah.
you get to experiment home as well?
I don't homebrew at home, but when we come up with a new recipe here,
Yeah.
we crank out 300 gallons.
Right.
We
Yeah,
don't even pledge
That beats
pressure.
home.
Yeah, you got the best home brewing setup ever.
That's a test batch for us.
Yeah.
It's 300 gallons.
Wow.
Wow.
And if it's bad, who's going to drink 300 gallons of it?
Well,
Do you ever have a bad one?
We don't
How
put
often?
them on tap if they're bad.
Who determines they're bad?
things
Like
can
the
happen,
brewers?
though.
We
Beers.
do. We
Like, well,
rely
that wasn't
on
good.
yeast and the whole microbiology business
Right.
sometimes can go down the wrong path, and we may lose a batch due to an infection or something from time to time. But
that happens in the software
don't-
world too. Some of our stuff goes down the tube.
There was a bug there.
One semicolon and you're done.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You did tabs instead of spaces?
We don't release that stuff, and we are our own quality control.
Right,
device.
right.
No, that's
excellent.
Before we put anything on. But yeah, no home brewing. I haven't done that in a really long time.
Nick wants to start. That's why he's
The
asking.
reason,
so much
the reason
into it,
why
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
is it takes the same amount of labor and time to make 5 gallons at home,
Yeah.
if not more,
300.
due to the cleaning and stuff,
Cleanliness,
than
yeah.
it does for me to make 300 here at work.
right.
So
So what you're saying is you got the best job in the world. Is what I'm hearing.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
It's
the
not a
best job in the
complaint.
world. No, I mean, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us today. I know there was one more thing that you wanted to mention. There was an event that's coming out
Oh,
here in
absolutely.
March.
I'm glad we could plug.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
We'd
please
love to
plug
invite you to as well, too. But it's the Day of Dorks. It's the second annual one that we do. We do festivals throughout the year here, usually some philanthropic. And
Yeah.
this one's a little bit more for fun for everybody. But we get 30 breweries, and they bring really eclectic, nerdy, out there styles of beer.
Sweet.
And everybody was really stoked. And just to give you kind of an idea, let's just say the last year's winner was like an 80-degree beer that won. So
85.
85. Opasaki. What
Yeah.
was that? Is that?
it was
yeah.
a raw, unboiled beer that they fermented at, I think, 100 degrees for 48 hours.
Oh,
And
wow.
just
Weird stuff like
Immediately
that.
kegged it off and brought it to the festival. Well, I heard about it, and I was really interested. So
Yeah.
right before that we let the public in, I went up to the booth, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to give this
Yeah,
a
yeah.
try. And they were like, no, we can't serve it yet. It's not up to temp. Not up to temp.
Right.
So I'm peeking around. At,
All right, what are we talking about? Like 20 minutes? Like,
They had an
throw some
immersion-
salt in there. We'll
they
heat
had
it
an
up.
immersion heater in a bucket heating the water up, and they weren't going to serve it till the beer got to 85 degrees.
But that's what took the show.
We gave
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gave a prize away
Absolutely.
for the nerdiest beer, and they totally went above and beyond. They made
That's
that
awesome.
specifically for that fest.
That's
Yeah, but it's March 10th, noon to 4.
Okay.
And what we do is we ask that you dress up like nerds if you'd like. We got a bunch of
Shouldn't be a
costumes.
problem.
But then we raise right. We're set.
lumberjack
We'll give you the
or nerd,
we'll give you
whichever
we'll give you the pocket protector to fit that and protect that.
it'll be
for you.
good. You know, I'll bring some pens. It'll be
And
great.
then bring any kind of school supplies because that's what we do raise is we had
excellent.
like 5 boxes of school supplies that we did
lovely.
in the
Definitely,
neighborhood. So
we'll bring
it's a
some for
real
sure.
fun festival and tickets are still on sale on Eventbrite. So
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
$40
definitely.
I think still. So but yeah, we'd love to have you guys if you'd like to come.
We'll plug it tonight too at our event.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey guys, again, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful, very informative session.
Thanks for hitting us up.
Oh, yeah. And
be here.
we'll be back with more on craft beer and data. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Craft Beer and Data. We just got finished talking with John and CJ here at Wynkoop Brewery. Wow, it was
Awesome interview with them. So definitely make sure you watch that segment.
yeah. So we figured it's 2018, and I'll apologize. I am sick. We're still here. It's that important.
Which is also we will not do any chugging today because of Nick's health. But I'll respect that this time, and we'll
You know, here I thought we became somewhat more educated in the way of drinking.
from Guinness.
From Guinness.
Yeah.
And no, all right.
I've been enjoying beating you. I have to say, it's just enjoyable to out drinking Nick. I'm
man.
the old guy. I'm
I
the
know,
old guy beating the young guy.
It's
I
fair.
mean,
It's fair. It's fair.
I gotta have some pride.
So, 2018. Towards the end of 2017, a lot of people are making predictions in this year, and why not us, right?
Absolutely. But before we get to that, I just want to call out our lumberjack shirts that we have. Nice Wynkoop flannels. When I saw these here, and I thought, wow, this is perfect for you, Nick. And I want to be like Nick today, so I'm also being the lumberjack flannel
I'm just
guy.
glad after so many episodes, you finally got just a hint of fashion sense. I'm just really excited about
I'm
this.
ready to go down and cut
the
some
full
trees down.
transformation. We'll get you in the backyard, we'll chop wood, it'll be fine.
All right, so back to the topic, Nick.
Right, to the topic. Predictions. So we can make some too. I mean, we spent a lot of time
why
talking
not?
to customers.
I'm not sure anybody will listen to our predictions,
well-
but hey, let's make some.
For those that should too. I think it'd be good. So, all right. So on the first one of those, I think if we look back at what happened last year in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and kind of take you through what those mean in a second, they really kind of just bursted forward. So many companies taking advantage of those technologies that actually really kind of, I think, even beat a lot of the industry leaders in kind of the adoption rate. So, obviously you have this concept of artificial intelligence, which I would think is an all-encompassing definition of essentially knowledge derived from a computer. Within that you have splinters, one of them being machine learning, the other one being natural language processing, the other one being vision. So there's multiple avenues for those technologies to exist. But I think the big thing here is just like, look, is doing some of the research, they're estimating 70% of all organizations are going to have some form of artificial intelligence.
Absolutely, and it's funny because I was looking for a quote on this topic, and Mark Cuban actually made a quote about, and I won't get exact, but he definitely did a quote on, if you're not using artificial intelligence or some type of form of machine learning in the next 2 to 3 years, your organization is going to die, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're a dinosaur. I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but he was one of the highest profile people that made a comment about it.
Phased out of existence,
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. And you absolutely, I went to some training, some Data Vault training we talked about last time in Dublin, and even that, the owner, the founder of the whole Data Vault concept says the same thing. That if you're not doing something with machine learning in the next 2 to 5 years, within your BI organizations, then you're pretty much done. You're going to be left behind. You're not going to be in the data management space anymore. So.
Well, I was reading an article today that was actually really fascinating. At Salesforce, so they're recently announcing Einstein, which is the machine learning aspect of Salesforce. Mark takes that with him into his meetings. With his executive level meetings, and they actually called out, like it was a recent article I read on CNBC where it's just like, yeah, it's in every one of my meetings, and I let all of my executives tell me what's going on, and then I asked the machine, all right, so you heard what they said, like, what's your interpretation? And the article explicitly mentioned where they called somebody out that they were wrong. It's like, no, like the usability of artificial intelligence and machine learning is just, it's going to become table stakes. Now,
absolutely.
You kind of mentioned when we were prepping for this that, like, in order to support that type of function.
Not that we prep too much for this.
Not that we prep.
Vinny.
Vinny, not that we prep too much. No, in terms of, the technologies that are there in place to actually support it.
Yeah, which is one of my predictions for 2018 is the readily availability, say that after too many beers. I'm going to try this beer here.
So this one is the coconut infusion that we were talking about with John and CJ.
Yeah, good.
This one is, I like it. It's not like overly coconutty, but it's like enough that.
Not sure I'm going to finish the beet one. So one of my predictions for 2018, and maybe it's not a big prediction, but after sitting through listening to the reInvent keynotes from Amazon, from AWS, if you didn't listen to them, you should. You should go check them out. But the things that they're announcing that for anybody to use that's a customer of Amazon or AWS platform, they're continuing the just embedding machine learning and artificial intelligence into all of their platforms to the point where my data in Redshift, for example, I don't need to offload it to EMR and run machine learning anymore. I can do machine learning algorithms right in Redshift, or they're packaging up entire templates of machine learning processes. So my prediction is that in 2018 it's going to become even more invasive for every organization to start using machine learning in some form or fashion to help them stay even. It used to be, you were the leader if you used it. Now, if you even want to continue to remain competitive, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And companies like Amazon, AWS, and Google is coming out with a more
the auto ML stuff that they just recently announced.
TensorFlow's UI on top. So everybody is racing to help all the organizations become more proficient and use it faster. So my prediction is that we're definitely going to see a much higher percentage of all organizations using some form of machine learning or artificial intelligence to help them gain the edge.
Yeah, well, and so a couple pieces to that to kind of validate what you're mentioning. So first, All right, well, at least got you in the shirt. We'll get you to start like
I'll have to
enjoying
wash that
beer.
down with something else.
All right. Is a couple of things I was doing as I was researching for this was like 25% of the enterprises will supplement their technology for some more immediate dynamic point and click type things. That's going to definitely be driven by machine learning. The other side of it is that on top of not only using the machine learning components, but recognizing the need for a process that handles things in real time. Now, one of the things that you hit on is, yes, I believe, I'm 100% with you that organizations are going to have to take advantage of machine learning in order to survive. Now, within machine learning, there's really three categories, but two that really come up a lot. One is supervised learning, and the other one is unsupervised learning. And I think if we look back at 2017, a lot of the success that we saw in machine learning was primarily generated through algorithms like a random forest or a naive Bayes, which is more essentially a supervised learning. And what we mean by that is that, hey, I know I have this data set, and I know the categories that this data should fall into. So I'm going to define those categories. I'm going to allow the algorithms to help kind of sort the data as it should. Unsupervised is really the exact opposite. I don't know what the categories are. I have my data set, and I'm really going to just expect the machine to figure it out and give me back the results. And a couple articles I read said, no, essentially it wasn't it wasn't performing it the way they wanted. But I really think this year, my prediction for 2018.
Say, what is your prediction?
Yeah,
get to the prediction.
Oh, geez, Mark. Is essentially, if we look at 2018, the MVP of machine learning this year is going to be unsupervised learning.
Unsupervised learning?
Yes.
I think so, too.
If we look back, we had Yahoo with Hadoop, we had LinkedIn with Kafka. We are primed and ready for another giant information dump from a company like that, explaining how they were using unsupervised learning. They do some anomaly detection with it today, but I think a larger issue, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize it just with machine learning in general, is just, hey, I don't have the right data to really actually do anything with it. So
right.
you fix that, all of a sudden unsupervised learning starts having
It's all about getting the data.
It is.
Which, hey, we can help you with that.
We can, but it's the quality of the data, right? The relevancy, the recency.
Absolutely.
The range, the R's.
You once had 12 Vs.
I do have 12 Vs. I have 5 Rs.
5 Rs?
I do have 5 Rs. We'll bring them up in another episode. The 5 Rs of data quality.
5 Rs of data quality. I haven't heard those. I don't think. I'm very intrigued and excited to hear about Nick's 5 Rs of data quality.
Not my 5 Rs. In fact, I've written about them, Mark. You got to read my blogs, man. Gotta read my blogs.
Sorry, man. Jeez. I'm going to do that right now.
I don't.
Can I read your blog right now? Do you
Sure.
mind?
Yeah. Just catch up. I'll take the rest of the episode. You can sit there and
I'll drink and read your blog. Hold
right.
on. Let me get it up here. 5 Rs. I don't see it, man.
Ooh.
I'm kidding.
All right.
I'm sure it's here.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that was mine. Now you talk so I can drink.
Yeah. Sure, Nick. So I'll read your blog later.
Yeah.
So I think my next prediction really is in 2018. We're gonna. Which one is that?
This is the porter that CJ was mentioning.
I'll try that next.
Sort of felt like there was some coffee to it. I don't taste it.
No donuts though.
No donuts.
Do you have the coconut?
The coconut was the one that was supposed to have donuts.
Oh, okay. All right, so back to my last prediction. This will probably be my last prediction because I've drank too much to predict anymore.
Come on, Nostradamus, we got this.
So my last prediction is really around the wave or the movement around containerization and serverless and all the good stuff around that. So, I see today, today in 2017. 2016, 2017, people were slowly adopting Docker containers and containerizing your applications and understanding what that really means. And really coming into this year, people really started, getting a really good handle, I feel, on that and understanding, not just, containerizing your application is one thing, but actually taking it a little bit lower level and containerizing the service or building the serverless. So my prediction is in 2018 the whole containerization movement and serverless. So serverless meaning, for those of you who haven't heard of it, is taking a service, packaging it up, kind of a standalone, and basically hosting it on obviously a server but hosting it on a server that you don't necessarily maintain. So it's really a standalone process that can run all on its own, does its function, and whatever that is. It could be fetch customer or get first name, last name, whatever it is.
This beet one is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the difference between you and me.
I have taste.
Here you go.
All right.
You can have mine.
Oh, good. All right.
So anyway, my prediction is the containerization. It's been from DevOps and from applications already been a pretty big movement. I think it's going to become even more mainstream, and in enterprises are going to adopt this even more. And then the whole serverless concept, having a service being standalone, running in either containers or serverless environments like AWS and Google and stuff, is really going to take off this year for building applications and things like that. So my prediction is this is the year for containerization and microservices and serverless. So it's the year. It's going to be big.
I hear you. No,
and I think you'll see some cool things around us as well.
Yeah. No, and you actually hit on a key point outside of the serverless, talking about kind of the organizational changes that we're seeing in terms of DevOps. And I think my last big prediction of this year is that organizations are definitely going to have, let's put it, the new cool job, right? Because data scientist, that was the job you wanted.
Yeah.
And before that was the data engineer. That was the job you wanted. I think that there's two new really cool roles, and I'm coming up with this last one as we're thinking because it reminded me of something else.
Making stuff up as we go, Nick.
Always, it's the spirit of the episode. No, I think that the first piece is we've hit on time and time again this. Machine learning is effectively changing how organizations are producing what they're doing, but it's also going to have a significant impact on the people, right? In terms of how do we align both our data scientists, data engineers, and our business users, because essentially everyone needs to come together to solve that. And so one of the trends that's been picking up a lot is this concept of not DevOps, but data ops, where you cover the integration, you cover the quality, you're working with the data scientists to come up with the machine learnings. I think structuring teams such that everyone has all of that as a responsibility is important. Because I think one of the things that I look back at is DevOps itself was supposed to be a methodology change, as opposed to...
We have an event tonight, so you better slow down, man.
Nah, it's fine. A methodology change such that was supposed to be part of a development organization, right? It wasn't supposed to be its own separate team. It was supposed to just be, hey, this is how everyone's operating. And I think I've seen a lot of organizations it's kind of just, DevOps is over there. Data ops might be this renaissance of the concept, recognizing that, hey, these people have to work together in a very intimate setting such that they are working hand in hand. It's not that we can hand it off to the other team and just kind of go on our way. I mean, they're in the together. The other thing that I thought about...
They're in what together?
They are in the trench together.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh, sorry, man.
Is this a kid-friendly show?
It's a kid-friendly show.
Is it?
We try.
Why? All right.
I'm sure if we go back, we swear a lot. No.
I think you could just say they're in the shit together.
They're in the shit together. No, I think... so the other job is recognizing once we've taken those results, how do we package the information we've got up into something that we can sell? So the other cool job I think will pop out this year is the information broker, right?
Information broker.
Yeah,
I don't think I've heard that before.
Yeah, this is
a new concept you're putting out there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm throwing it out there just like we did.
Let's call up our CMO Ashley and let him know that we have a new
information
role
broker
that we want to go after.
Yeah, and so think of it this way, right? I have all of this wealth of information, right, that I've either run through a machine learning algorithm or just process in general. And the ability to then mask it and then sell it, that information, to other people is something that I think a lot of companies they've been exploring, right? They've been testing it. The other side of it is...
So would you sell that through like API, some type of API management, the data API or something?
Absolutely.
Huh,
right? Access to that API. Now the other thing is it's not only just the data. What I see time and time again is organizations that are collecting all this information to train those machine learning algorithms. It's very easy to put an API front end to that once the model's been trained to be able to get results out.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And so,
yeah, absolutely.
Right? See, it's not just complete hocus pocus. There's some thought behind it.
It's not just marketing. You mean?
It's not just marketing.
No offense to the marketing people. Because I am marketing.
You said it, not me.
But I am marketing. You
No,
know, check
I mean,
my title.
In all seriousness, what I see a lot of those organizations, and even what we're seeing with Google and Microsoft today, right? I can easily build my machine learning algorithms and use their platforms for training, but they also have just basic APIs. Well done, sir. Well done. I talk a lot.
I did give you my beet beer, though.
That's true.
I can't drink that one.
But they do have, they have the ability to build the service, and they have pre-built services as well. And I think that we're going to start seeing the likes of, the huge SIs being able to provide that as a value-added service.
I love the concept of information broker. I think. So is that your prediction?
That's my prediction. Is that we're going to see
information brokers coming out. I like that. Because there's data is one thing. For those that are new to the whole data management space, there's data, but you use data to come up with whether you aggregate it or cleanse it to actually come up with that information. And the information is what's the value to the business, right? So what Nick is saying is we're coming up with information brokers are going to be the big thing for 2018, not data necessarily, not just give you some raw data that you have to figure out what to do with it, but actually information brokers that have said, hey, we've already come up with these insights and this information. Here it is. Do you want it? I'll sell it to you. Yeah. Nick will sell it to you. So that's a great prediction, Nick. I love it, man. That's to me. I've heard the concept of data API gateways and things like that. I think that's probably one of the best descriptions of information broker and predictions around this data gateway is really more. It's going to be more valuable if it's an information broker and the information gateway than just pure data, just raw data, right? So. Yep. Awesome, Nick. Hey, cheers to that, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. So
I like it. So
we've talked about a number of different ways that I think our industry and really just data as a whole is going to evolve over this next year. I look forward to our episode at the end of the year where we come back and go.
We have to.
Right on this one, wrong on that one.
I think in December we definitely got to pick. That's our topic is come back and review our predictions and see. Are these really, is machine learning AI really pervasive? Is, Docker and containerization and microservices, has it really become pervasive over the year? And just come back and see where we are. So see how good we were on our drinking predictions. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so, obviously, again, thank you, Wynkoop Brewery, for providing us the space for this episode.
Awesome space.
Next month,
great beer.
Yeah, we're in Philadelphia. So if you're interested in coming and listening to us talk in our evening sessions, which we'll preface is after some of these.
Could be interesting.
Could be interesting. That'll be a lot of fun. Philadelphia is the next place. And then after that, I think we're in Nashville.
Nashville. Next.
All right, we're getting the AOK on Nashville.
Yep.
So, again, thank you for watching this episode. My name's Nick.
I'm Mark.
We'll catch you at the next episode of Craft Beer and Data.
Cheers, Nick.
Cheers. Oh, you can cheers now.
I wanted to show that I learned.
All right.